Daughters was telling me about Laura Carney's new book, My Father's List, How Living My Dad's Dreams Set Me Free. It tells the story of a daughter who found her father's bucket list after his death in a car accident when he was only 54. To honor his memory, she set about fulfilling his goals. Well, that got me to thinking about my bucket list, and I realized I really didn't have one. At 29, Laura's father had written down 60 items he intended to accomplish in his lifetime. When he died, only 10 had been crossed off the list. Remaining items included talking to a president, writing to the Pope, surfing in the Pacific, driving a Corvette, and skydiving. Well, like him, I certainly have had dreams and wishes and plans I wanted to accomplish. I just never got around to writing them down. And some of them were very short-lived. Had I had a bucket list, number 1 would have been to become a famous folk singer. The fact that I cannot carry a tune, even in a bucket, and that my attempts were greeted with groans or laughter, got that one crossed off my list. The other biggie when I was a teen, I wanted to go off to the Yukon and be a pioneer. Like Louise, my incredibly beautiful cousin, who had played piano in beautiful evening gowns before appreciative audiences, and then had gone off to settle in northern Alberta as a pioneer. Good enough reason that I too could clear the land with other like-minded hippies, live on what we grew, canned, and shot, chopping down trees to build our homes, hanging out around bonfires and singing songs in the evening would have made it top contender on my next to-do bucket list. Now, the fact that I actually knew how hard my uncles, aunts, and cousins worked on their modern farms and how early they went to bed did not deter me, nor did the reality of long, cold, dark winters make a mockery of sitting around those bonfires every evening. Fortunately, I fell in love and married a man who did not share that dream, so I moved on to others. Lots of kids were backpacking around Europe then, staying in hostels and really getting to know the real people, and I wanted to join them. No hotels and fancy restaurants for me, but jobs to finance the travels and babies deferred those plans for many years. And by the time I got to Europe, I wanted comfort, not to be in a hostel room with 5 others in bunk beds. My bucket list also gained a yen for education, the kind that ends up with grand celebrations and a diploma. That I fulfilled, over and over again. Jobs, politics, travel, study abroad, grandchildren, elections, they came and went on my dream list. Some fulfilled, some abandoned, some postponed. But with a family, my list tended to be dominated by the possible, while the impossible is so much more fun, and by the shared dreams with my partners. Some of the impossibles did get fulfilled. My husband and I fell in love with Scotland, and I fell in love with castles. So the dream of all dreams was to buy a falling down castle in Scotland, and while Harold supervised the restoration, I would continue to work to pay for it. Well, we got to buy the falling down castle. They are very cheap. But the restoration ran into endless red tape, and then my husband had an accident and could no longer travel. And that dream fell apart. Take another off the list. On my husband's bucket list was to take a trip to Israel and follow the travels of Jesus and to sail on the Sea of Galilee. He'd traveled a great deal before our marriage, and after retirement, resumed doing so, introducing our children to foreign climes that I never had the time or inclination to visit. But he never got to Israel. It never made it to the top of his traveling bucket. So, top of my list is to make sure my children and grandchildren get there to fulfill his missed trip. For myself, that pretty well covers what is left on my list. That and maybe going back to university. But it sounds like the campus is no longer the fun and challenging place that it once was. Other people have so many more interesting items on their lists. Here are some I've learned about. A month in the south of France without any worries about money. A weekend with friends one never had time to have lunch with. Study with a great chef to really learn one's craft. Fall in love forever. Act on the stage at Stratford. Go to Mars. Design a kitchen to one's own specifications that would be a heaven to work in. Get a grandchild to follow into the family's law firm. Lose 50 pounds. Build a house from breaking the ground up. Work my way through trying every beer sold in craft beer stores. Get pregnant. Ski every run in the Alps. Do a 7-day hiking trip that covers 80 miles of Killarney Provincial Park. Get an honest diagnosis from the doctor. Take a train across Canada, first class. Bucket lists tend to the possible, and the impossibles get eliminated over time. We stop hoping and wishing when the going gets too tough, or it looks too impossible. And admittedly, some things are. But why don't I have seeing 25 more people in the pews next Sunday on my list? The reality is that I would be delighted with 5 or even 1. But I don't know how to do that. And I'm pretty sure there aren't 25 people out there with attend St. Monica's Church next Sunday on their list. So I am impressed with those who dream big when they write their list. I think there must be some magic in writing down one's bucket list. It reveals your real intentions to anyone you share it with, and it commits you to doing it. It can change your narrative. It can mean real investments of time and resources to make things happen, to make them real. There's a permanence to the written word that mere dreams will never have. I also believe that letting others know what is on your list will add spurs to your doing them. So here is the start of my list. Finally, putting dreams down on paper. Looking for a better success rate than dreams of the past manage. And looking forward to the satisfaction of finally checking each one off. So, to keep my nose to the grindstone, I share with you the beginning of my bucket list. Get the family to the Holy Land, even if it uses up all their inheritance. Get back to studying. Write a book, or at least a long essay. Make a list that will help Tori when the time comes. Finish handwriting the books of the Bible. Increase St. Monica's attendance by 5 in the next year. And come up with an idea for thoughts once a week. Finally, I challenge you to take out a piece of paper and pen, or get on your computer and pull up a clean sheet. Start writing. Dream big. Make plans. Make a long list and start checking them off once done. One suggestion, though. Work at walking the Camino de Santiago or climbing Mount Logan before your knees refuse to cooperate. May joy, pride, the good kind, and satisfaction be yours and your bucket list. So may it be. Amen. It's never too late to start something good. We can't all have our list written by the time we turn 29. But there's no time like the present to get started on all the marvelous things we're going to get done before we leave this mortal coil.